If you happen to hear what sounds like a lot of vehicles, that's exactly what you hear. I live close to a main road, and there is a shipyard facility less than a couple of miles from me here, and one of the shifts is about to start. So the main road has quite a bit of traffic right now. So that's what you hear in the background, is people racing the clock in. So I'm just starting my day. And as some of you who have already been listening to my channel already know, I get a lot of spiritual downloads as soon as I wake up in the morning. So I just wanted to share one with you, and I hope that this is helpful. This is in regards to breakups. Now, all of us who have been in the dating world have experienced a breakup at one time or another. I just want to offer a helpful tip because this was something I had to learn. And even though I've been in the dating world for most of my life, it never amazes me that every time I get involved in something that doesn't work out, I learn something because everybody is different. And one thing I've learned over the years is not to have the same approach with every person that I come across, except the fact that they are a different person and it's going to be a different experience. So, I'm going to go ahead and just offer a tip based on my experience. One thing you don't do is, if it's a situation where the two of you decide to break up, do not, and I mean do not, and I'm saying this to avoid any problems. If it was a breakup that wasn't so nice, please don't try to call yourselves trying to get back later on and hash it out. Get back together later on. Oh, we need to talk about this. We need to da-da-da-da-da. And I know this flies in the face of a lot of things that people say because everybody wants to say what's on their mind and everybody wants to purge. But see, there's a certain level of timing that you've got to have when you do these things. And you got to look at the playing field. You got to see what the conditions are. You know, you got to think about how you want to spend your time and energy, because I'm at a point in my life where I don't want to spend my time or energy on anything that's not going to be of any service to me. I'm just at that age. And I know some of you might be a generation younger or whatever and think that you've got all the time in the world because that's the psychology behind youth sometimes. But the thing is that if nothing is good is going to come out of it because you failed to listen to your intuition, then don't get involved in it. There have been many times in my past where I would get involved in relationships, and whether it was my choice or the other person's choice, some bad decisions were made and the breakup wasn't nice. Okay, that's fine. But the best thing that I could do to keep everything quiet is just to keep moving on. Whether you deemed it a mistake or not, and if there was no attempted reconciliation, don't turn around 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, decide you want to go back to that person and say that you want to hash things out. The problem with that is, number one, you've been carrying that energy around for no reason. If you have something that you want to hash out with someone after something that you ended, or something that ended badly, you're still carrying that energy around. That energy is taking up space where you could have been doing something else with it. You're still harboring those feelings. You're still wound up about it. You still got anxiety and you still have worry. That's not the way to go. And you could have missed out on a lot of opportunities with different things in your life because that energy is taking up so much space in your psyche where you can't even give that type of, you can't even clear your mind enough to even receive the opportunity. You're consumed by it. It doesn't matter if it's other person's fault or your fault or you just incompatible or whatever the case may be. The bottom line is that it's over with. Now, mind you, now, if it's a situation where you went ahead and ended things and that person went on about their business, and no drama or anything else, and they've gone on, what you wound up for? That's my question. See, there's a deeper meaning behind that. See, sometimes people will say things and do things to try to get a reaction out of folks. And this is an extreme case here. Like I said, I was on both sides of this thing. Could have been involved in a relationship where the other person seemed detached. They weren't affectionate. So you figure if you go ahead and you threaten to leave or you choose to leave, that you're going to get a reaction from them so they can come back to you later on and say, oh, I realized I was wrong and blah, blah, blah. And in a small percentage of the time, that may be the case. But the majority of the time, it's just how that person operates. It's just how that person reacts to things. Some people are just not affectionate. Some people are just not into that. And that's okay. So you got to sit down and decide what you want from a person. But this business of wanting the attention, because it's attention-seeking behavior, wanting the attention of somebody who's no longer there. See, what happened was it finally dawned on your mind that that person had more of a vested interest in you than you thought, and you took advantage of it. And now that they're gone, now that you're not getting a reaction from them based on what you decided, all of a sudden you want to get together and you want to hash things out. No. I've gotten to the point in my life where, look, if it comes to a job, if it comes to a friendship, if it comes to a romantic relationship, family relationship, whatever the case may be, if that person comes to me, and I mean this, if that person comes to me and says they don't want to deal with me anymore, goodbye. And I know y'all hear this from a lot of people all the time, and then you look into their private life and see that it's messy as I don't know what because they don't obey their own words. But I'm going to honestly tell you, and this is the truth coming from me, if you don't want to be bothered with me anymore, and that's your final decision, let it be your final decision. Go off into the sunset. Goodbye. Don't look for me to chase you. Don't look for me to run you down. Don't look for me to be crying and depressed and this, that, and the other, because it is what it is. Now, I might shed a tear because it depends on how vested I was in the relationship, but tears dry. They have Kleenex for that. You have to learn how to move on. And the first thing I would do is start doing an assessment and saying to myself, okay, I could have did this better. I could have did that better. Check yourself. But don't sit there and think, okay, and for a brief moment, you might say, you know what, I am entitled to an explanation because this is not wrong. Take your time and think it out first. Don't chase down an explanation for something you think that was done wrong against you from someone who did not care to give you that explanation in the first place. See, this is backwards. What should have happened is that if there was an issue at the time when you were together, is to bring it up when you're together so there wouldn't be a breakup, to work things out. But no, it was easier for that person to say, you know what, I'm just going to walk away and say, screw it. Okay, fine. When you make that decision, and that's the nail in the coffin, for some people like me, as far as I'm concerned, you're done. So I keep my mouth shut and keep it moving. Wasn't always that way, but I am now. Because I'm like, if that's your decision, that's your decision. I don't have time to sit up here and figure out why. I don't have time to do a character assassination. It might happen initially because of the shock of the whole thing if it was something that came out the blue. But I don't have time to sit here and wonder, okay, well, this is happening in their life and that's why they're doing what they're doing. The bottom line is after you get through doing all the analysis, at the end of the day, they still made their decision. And I'm at the point now where I'm just looking at the end result. I'm like, screw why it happened. It happened. So here you are, maybe weeks, months, weeks, months later, whatever the case may be. Some time passes, more time than than the time that you would have spent together apart. Spent together. Time passes. You've gotten used to the fact that, okay, I'm going to fly solo for a while. Some of you might get involved in a new relationship. Some of you might move on and say, you know what, I'm going to chill and just focus on other things for a while and be myself. Whatever it is, you've changed in your mind how your living situation is going to be from now on, how you're spending your time. You're single again. You've already readapted that. Well, lo and behold, here comes this person. All of a sudden, they want to talk. They want to get things off their chest and da 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 da. This is where you've got to meditate and think. Because I'm going to tell you right now what my initial reaction would be. And it has been in the past. And I know it's not right. But sometimes people, buttons are pushed. Come back to me later on and all of a sudden you want to talk about a situation that should have been discussed when we were together, or else we wouldn't be at this point. I'm going to go off on you. I'm going to go off on you. I'm going to say whatever I want to say, whether it seems logical or not. Because the thing is I have kept my mouth shut. I have minded my own business. I have, I've left you alone. If that's a decision that you want to make, then fine. That's a decision that you want to make. If that's how you feel about me, fine. That's the way you feel about me. But don't turn around and come back later on talking about you got some things that you want to get off your chest. You got some things that you feel that are unresolved. That's what you feel. So you would mean to tell me that you knew that things were jacked up, didn't say anything during the time when you had the chance to say it. So instead of just dealing with it during the time when we were together and given the possibility of us working things out, you thought it was just better to just go ahead and drop everything because you couldn't comprehend what was going on. That sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. I have learned to accept the final decision of anyone, no matter how much it hurts or anything else. If that person decides what they want to decide, let them go. Let them go. But one thing you're not going to do is you're not going to disrespect my time and come back after the fact to want to talk about something that should have been discussed before the fact. Because I'm going to go off on you. And then turn around and have the audacity to act surprised when you do. See, all this does is confirm that what happened should have happened. It's petty and it's small. And I'm going to tell you one of the reasons why these people act this way. They were testing you. When they left, they were looking for a certain reaction from you. They were looking for you to act crazy. They were looking for you to blow up the phone and chase them down. They were looking for you to badmouth them on social media and to their relatives and to their friends so it would get back to them that you're so riled up and upset. They were looking for you to just have the nasty attitude. They were looking for you to look disheveled and falling apart. They were looking for you to be off of your game. If you had extra side hustles and things going on, if you had extra relationships going on, they were looking for your routine to change. They were looking for you to just go into a negative direction because they withdrew themselves from your life. It was a game for them. It was a game. And when they didn't get that reaction from you, it's messing them up on the inside because they're like, wait a minute, I ain't heard nothing from her. I see I see that she's still doing so and so. I see that she's still engaged in so and so. Let me check my Facebook page. I don't see no posts. Oh, you know what? She ain't even did no response videos to my video. Wow, she's still going to so and so. She's still doing so and so. And she looks the same. I mean, don't look like anything's wrong with her. Well, what about me? She must not have cared that much about me. Oh, I'm feeling a certain type of way. I'm feeling used now. You see how all of a sudden they're a victim. So they figure in their mind, okay, they let this thing consume them. And then all of a sudden out the blue, excuse me, they want to turn around and come back to you later on and want to hash things out. They don't want to hash nothing out. They want your attention. They want to know deep down why you ain't flipped out over them. They don't want to hash nothing out because they probably hadn't changed their mind about being with you no way. And if it's a situation of unresolved feelings where they felt stronger for you than they anticipated, well, you know what? That's another problem. Because if they were experiencing strong feelings when they were with you and didn't do anything about it, do you want to live with somebody like that where you got to feel that you got to do dental surgery just to get a reaction out of them? That's too much work. That's too much time. That's too much energy. I value my time. I value my energy. I see what it is now. So I'm not going to waste any time anymore with people who don't want to spend any time with me, who don't want to take the time that we have together and make it a quality experience. If they want to go, they can go. They're welcome to do so. But one thing I'm not going to do is if you don't want me around, I'm not going to chase you down and demand your attention for what? You've made your decision. I came close a few times to reconsidering because I felt like I was entitled to an explanation. But the bottom line is that Spirit told me, you know what? Okay, once you get the explanation, then what? Do you actually think anything's good's going to come out of it? Because you still got to deal with the behaviors. And some of you have to ask yourself that. So the next time you have a nasty situation, a nasty breakup, and you part company, sometimes you need to just let that company just be parted. Don't be a closure junkie, because I know there's some people that are closure junkies. They feel they need to have closure, because they need to have answers. They're required to have answers. But see, you need to consider the source of where you're going to get them answers from. And sometimes you might not get the answers that you want to hear, and your energy's fucked up the whole day as a result of it. Was it worth it? No, because at the end of the day, you're going to wind up parting company anyway. Don't stir up the hornet's nest or else you're going to get stung. So with that being said, I'm going to let you guys go. Have a great day.